Native American Indian artifacts, a possible ceremonial spear from the Saginaw Valley of Michigan by Dennis M. Morrison, Sr. The summer of 2013 was an exciting one for me. I found many unusual fossils, including jellyfish, historical relics, and Indian artifacts. One of the more unusual items is a broken flint artifact. I have had to give a lot of thought to this piece in order to make sense of it. The artifact rather looks like half a Delta wing jet plane. When outlined what the complete piece would look like, there is no doubt that it was intended to be a spear point. If unbroken, this would have been measured 4 inches long and 4 inches wide with a stem at the base. If this was the intent of the ancient man who was crafting this piece, then it could have served no purpose other than to have been ceremonial. Judging by the looks of the artifact, I would say that it was broken when it was actually being manufactured. How does one assign an age to a random find such as this? To begin with, this has an intact stem at the base rather than notches for attachment to the wooden shaft. This means it would hail back to the Archaic period, which is approximately 8,000 to 2,000 years BC here in Michigan, and during the later woodland periods, most points were notched rather than stemmed. So it's a pretty good indication that it was during the Archaic periods. Now, another thing which makes me tend to think Archaic, in fact very early Archaic, is the stone itself. Usually ceremonial or grave pieces are made of the very best flint. This stone is not good quality at all. On the one side, it has many imperfections, even along the blade edge. Working this quality stone with so many imperfections would be almost impossible. This is a unifacial artifact, meaning it was worked on one side only. The scars left by the removal of flakes to produce the piece are very evident on the one side and none at all on the opposite side except along the edge of the blade itself. Even after breakage occurred, there were a number of uses the object could have served, though I cannot say for certain it was indeed used for these. The sharp point of the stem would have been perfect as a graving spur. Such spurs were used to mark on bone and stone. Crude knives are abundant on archaeological sites of all periods. This would have been a very effective handheld knife. It could also have been attached to a bone or wood handle. This would have been very effective for cutting or stabbing, and so would have made a good weapon also. This piece was found near, but not in, the Shiawassee Wildlife Refuge in Saginaw, Michigan. Some road work was being done next to a farm field, and this fascinating relic was turned up. The leader there of the project was more than happy to allow me to take the piece. At this point, let's consider another possibility down a totally different path. While not as likely as the ceremonial spear point, it is nonetheless a distinct possibility. The Thunderbird was the most powerful spiritual entity in the Algonquin mythology. The Thunderbird was the protector of the ancient residents of what would one day be Michigan. The image of the Thunderbird has been found in archaeological context elsewhere in Michigan. One instance which comes to mind are the Nobcauzoan discs found near Thunder Bay in Alpena, Michigan. For more on these, please see my video, Coins of Ancient America. There is a slight possibility that this could indeed have been intended as an effigy representation of the head of a thunderbird. This can be interpreted as a powerful beak here on the piece and a pointed tuft at the back of the head leading down to a very sturdy neck. I actually found another piece about 2 weeks earlier and maybe about a city block where this piece was found. This other piece is a Shale Concretion, and this one I figured right off the bat was a Thunderbird effigy. It has the same basic characteristics as the other relic: a profound beak, a top notch, a strong neck, and again is also reminiscent of the discs from Alpena. This piece shows somewhere from close contact with human skin oils and was likely a charm of some sort. This little piece measures about 1.5 by 1.25 inches. But back to the original artifact. whether it was a ceremonial spear or the Thunderbird effigy. This is a most fascinating and remarkable find, which speaks to us of an amazing culture and their mythology that existed in the Saginaw Valley of Michigan thousands of years ago, but also throughout the entire state.